Joe Biden speaks with ABC News tonight. How many TV interviews has the president given? President Joe Biden will sit down with George Stephanopoulos of ABC News on Friday for a televised interview, while his campaign remains in damage control mode following last week's botched presidential debate. This will be the president's second interview with the ABC News anchor, adding to his short list of televised interviews since taking office. Biden currently holds the record for the fewest press conferences and media interviews held by presidents in over 40 years. News of the interview came just days after Biden struggled on stage at the first presidential debate with former President Donald Trump, often stumbling over his words and giving confusing responses. The 81-year-old has been open about his history of struggling with a speech impediment as a child and largely overcoming it into adulthood. The upcoming interview may be Biden's redemption for his performance last week. Here's a look at the president's infrequent TV appearances before Friday's interview. Biden's most recent televised appearance was with CNN's Erin Burnett, who spoke with him about job growth, the Israel-Hamas war, and the protests on college campuses that followed. Biden spoke with media personality and radio host Howard Stern in a filmed interview on Sirius-XM, saying he'd be happy to debate Trump, indicating for the first time he'd be open to doing so during the 2024 election season. During the interview, Biden addressed his struggles with stuttering. "You realize how humiliating it is," he said. "It taught me to understand what other people are going through." In April, Biden was criticized by the New York Times for his lack of access to the media, and the president joked about it in his speech at the White House Correspondents Association's annual dinner. "Of course, the New York Times issued a statement blasting me for actively and effectively avoiding independent journalists," Biden said. "I do interviews with strong independent journalists who millions of people actually listen to, like Howard Stern." MSNBC host Jonathan Capehart interviewed Biden after his Super Tuesday wins and the State of the Union address. Capehart questioned Biden about calling an undocumented immigrant an illegal during his address, saying that he regrets using it, and it was a misstep. Biden made an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers in front of a live studio audience a week before Super Tuesday. The talk show host and comedian quickly jumped to the topic of the case of his classified documents and age. Meyers, "Some classified documents recently leaked, and this isn't a gotcha show, but I do want to ask about it. It says you are currently 81 years old." Biden, "Who the hell told you that?" "Yeah, that's classified. That's classified." Meyers, "All jokes aside, according to recent polling, this is a real concern for American voters. How do you address that concern going forward as you come up to the 2024 election?" Biden, "Well, a couple things. Number one, you got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't even remember his wife's name. Number one. Number two, it's about how old your ideas are." CBS News anchor and correspondent Scott Pelley interviewed Biden on 60 Minutes, mainly talking about the October 7 Hamas attacks on Israel. Biden sat down with MSNBC's Nicole Wallace to discuss the Supreme Court's ruling to overturn affirmative action precedent. After Wallace concluded her questions and thanked Biden, the president got up while the camera was still filming and exited off-screen. Former CNN White House correspondent John Harwood conducted a September 2023 interview with the president where he discussed hyperpartisanship and the Supreme Court. According to ProPublica, who Harwood worked with to film and produce the interview, Biden did not receive any questions or topics ahead of time. Pelley interviewed Biden for 60 Minutes for the first time in 2022 and addressed concerns about Biden's age. Pelley, "How would you say your mental focus is?" Biden, "Oh, it's focused. I think it's, I haven't. Look, I have trouble even saying to myself, my own head, the number of years. I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than fly. I mean, it's just not. I haven't observed anything in terms of, there's not things I don't do now that I did before, whether it's physical or mental or anything else."